Hello everybody. This video is a short follow-up in the hopes of giving some additional clarity to this policy of the NTC 5580 of 2008. So some of the things or some of the norms included here are related with how these institutions must be organized and what the requirements are. For example, we mentioned that one of the things that they regulate here is the name, because we often see in our society that there are very flashy names, but such names are not really accurate or not according to what really might happen. Something like inglés rápido en un mes, and like 100% fluency and things like that. So this norm includes all the requirements and all the information that needs to be followed so that the name that you give to your program is not really going to be deceitful, as we already mentioned. So it needs to be coherent. There needs to be coherence between the curriculum, between the things that are stated in the Common European Framework and the nature, and even if what type of program it is, if it's just like general language learning, or if it's for a specific program with a specific goals and for a specific people, like for a specific group of people, things like that. Um, Others that are, for example, focused on teaching how to pass an exam and things like that. The rationale that we mentioned here, like there needs to be coherence and some information on the impact that they want to do, and that learning that language is going to have in the lives of all the people who are studying it. What elements or what variables or what factors are going to differentiate this program with other similar programs in the local, regional, and national environment. What is the methodology, how everything's going to work out. The curriculum has to organize and has to include the profile of the students who are going to start, or that are going to be part of the courses. What are the levels of competency that students will have at the end of the program? Um, and that all has to be according to the Common European Framework. So all of that needs to be clearly stated. How the students' profile when they enter the program and when they exit the program, when after successfully completing it. Um, they We're going to see this a little bit later in the evaluation and the processes related to alumni. It's one of the things is they need to monitor and they need to find information about the alumni. I'm getting ahead of myself, but we're gonna get there too. All the study plans, curriculum, all the information related to that, according to the pedagogical focus, the methodology, how everything is organized, how they identify the needs, how they determine the objectives, all the characteristics of what they are trying to teach, the level that students will gain in their competency and in general for each of the parts of the program, each of the levels, how long it's going to be, all the knowledge that they need to develop, all the content that is going to be covered, how it is going to be covered, like how much time it's going to be with the teacher, what other methodologies or what aiding tools are going to be used, how much time is required from the student in an independent way, what environment for learning will be, what is the equipment that students can rely on or can use, how long the activities are, how the time is organized, if there is like some sort of schedule, what are the types of evaluation, how they are connected with the pedagogical part, all the requirements to decide for the teachers or for everyone to decide that a learning goal has been achieved or not. The exams and the tests, the levels compared to the exams and the tests, what actions or what is prepared for students to improve if they didn't fulfill or if they didn't achieve that goal, how the teacher and how the institution is going to help them so that they can improve. Uh, all the different elements from the PEI that formal education has. So that would be like an equivalent, but it is necessary that it is included. How all the learning activities are going to be carried, if they are going to be face to face, if there will be maybe a virtual environment, or if there is some independent work, all about the methodology, the learning contexts based on different elements. So that includes in what type of context they are going to be able to perform, the age, the characteristics of the users and the students, how the not just the class, which in a specific the class time is going to be divided, but also the general time to actually pass the courses, how the learning process will be evaluated, some requirements. This norm includes all the requirements that are for the selection and hiring of the teachers. And some of the main things that I found here and that I find really unusual, because in my experience this has rarely happened anywhere, is that teachers must have at least minimum 2 years of experience in the teaching area, language teaching area in specific, especially if they don't have like a bachelor's degree in this area. But it is mandatory that they have the bachelor's degree in the area, that minimum 80% of all the teachers must have a C1 level in the language they are teaching, and the other 20% must be in a B2 level, and this needs to be proven by an international test. So this is one of the key elements where I find that we're not quite there yet. Besides this test, the place, the company, the school needs to require teachers to present and to prove and to do those tests again and again every 2 years or every 5 years maximum. And they also need to have some additional competencies according to the nature of the program. So if you have a virtual program, you need to provide some evidence for those additional competencies as well. The distribution and the of the classes for each of the teachers, so they are not overworked. They need to follow the same rules as the schools when it comes to children, for example, the number of children and the number of teachers per children, or the number of teachers per student, etc., etc. Like that must also be followed, similar to the schools. How teachers would be evaluated. So there is some information here about what needs to be considered for that evaluation, and minimum is like if the teacher has the communicative competence that it's required, if the students are satisfied, so their perceptions, that's part of it. The self-evaluation, the self-assessment, the assessment by the immediate superiors, the results that students are having, so not only like if they feel good or not, but also if the students are really improving, and how updated and how much training the teacher has. These are also part of it. There are, so as I was saying before, some requirements based on the processes related with students and alumni. So the acknowledgement, how can those learning practices and those competences be recognized internationally? So what can be done? Some certifications to uh, to prove that such levels were indeed achieved. They need to be, of course, coherent with the Common European Framework, so that any person can prove, and if they are told that they have a specific level when they present an international test, they should achieve at least that level which they are supposed to have been able to achieve. And also monitoring the alumni about certificates, about how they are doing in their life, in their work, if they are improving and reaching higher goals after the learning process. Some requirements on the administrative part, so about the spaces, about the technology, about the, of course, the public services that are available, the security, communications, the classrooms, all of those technical elements and logistical elements, the information systems for the students' payments, for the recognition and monitoring of the students' competency, if their attendance, their evaluations, certificates, how they can practice in real places, or in realistic contexts, how teachers are selected, and all the certificates, the evaluations, like how you can keep track of all that information, how you can keep track of all the information of the program, and how you continue evaluating your program and improving, finding things to improve, and working on the client satisfaction and students satisfaction. So this is a deeper review of this norm. As I said, it's something that all teachers and all people, in fact, should be aware of in order to prevent the very common situation of students and parents and people getting ripped off or stolen, their money stolen, because they wanted to achieve something, they wanted to learn something, but in the end, the company or the place where they were studying was not really compliant with the rules and was not really legalized. So that is why I think this is a really important thing for all of us to know and be familiar with. I, for one, was not aware that we already had a rule like this, but I hope that this video helps you a lot. And thank you very much. Goodbye.